Hi guys, it's Actual Mano. How's everyone doing? Good, 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 I hope. Something has prompted me to do this video today. I'm doing the 20 most strong and long-lasting fragrances in my collection. Having worked in the fragrance industry, I can tell you that 99% of the time, the first thing someone's going to ask you is, but how long does it last? How long does it last? Is it strong? Is it going to last on me? Things don't really last on me. Is it going to last on me? And it's a tricky one because I understand why people are like that, because, you know, if you're shelling out your hard-earned cash, you're going to want to get bang for your buck, right? You don't want to spend all this money for something only to last for 5 minutes. And there are lots of companies out there that say that their fragrance lasts a really long time, when in actual fact, they kind of don't. So it's prompted me to do this video, and it's kind of a tricky one to answer because there is a thing called skin chemistry, and what might last on me might not last on you. It's just the way of fragrance. So these are the 20 top most things in my collection that last on me. There'll probably be some people out there saying, that one doesn't last, I've tried that, that one doesn't last on me. The fact of the matter is, it's different for everyone, but I've chosen pretty much the most bombastic and strong things that I own, and I have a lot because that's kind of what I go for. I am that person that says, how long does it last? So it's me as well. I'm with you on that one. What is long-lasting to me? I think I should probably answer that question. Long-lasting in my world is something that I can put on once and I don't need to touch it up or respray later in the day, although I like doing that anyway. It's just, I like the action of actually spraying perfume on. But I would say anything that's 8 hours up. Some of these are 12, some of these are a full day. I mean, there are some really strong ones here. So anyway, let's start. So some of these you might have seen before if you follow me, I don't know, but a lot of these are actually my favorites. I'm going to start with this one. It is Opium, and it is by Yves Saint Laurent. This one is, I mean, it's kind of the queen of the Orientals, or one of the queens of the Orientals. This is actually the newer version, and it's the Eau de Parfum, the one that I have. It's known for being a monster. Huge myrrh, spices, lots of resins. Oh my gosh, I guess some people might think it's dated, but I absolutely love this fragrance. I don't really know when to wear it, to be honest, but if you want longevity and you want strength and you want something that's going to get you noticed and you don't mind a bit of a vintage feel, Opium. So I've actually smelled the Eau de Toilette version of this as well, the newer version, because, you know, there's a vintage version of this, and now there's this one in this bottle. A friend of mine used to wear that one to work, and it's spicier than this one, in fact. This one is a lot smoother and more resinous, but the one that she had is spicier. So Opium by Yves Saint Laurent is my first pick. The next one I'm going to do, I'm going to start with this one. Well, after this one, because this one always wants to fall over, so I just want to kind of get it out of my way. It is Amouage Opus IX. Oh Lord. Not only is this one of my favorites, it's actually my favorite Amouage fragrance that exists. I love it. So this one, yeah, it's essentially a jasmine perfume, but it's also got quite a lot of black pepper in there. There's a lot of incensey tones going on, and it's also got a real animalic feeling from civet, which gives it kind of grounds it and dirties up the jasmine even more. The jasmine in here is quite dirty anyway, but this one is one that I put on and it's done. I don't really need to worry about it, and I can always feel it. So this one's a good 10-12 hour one on my skin. The next one is a good old faithful of mine. It's called Red Cap. Well, it's actually called Parfum, and it's by Dolce & Gabbana, but it's known in the fragrance world as Red Cap because of this. And this one, oh my gosh, I love this one. So this one's a floral aldehyde perfume. It's really powdery. It really needs to be cleaned, but this gold is the bane of my life. I can never get it to be totally not marked by any fingerprints. So anyway, this one here, yeah, floral aldehyde, basil, super powdery, kind of rich and super elegant. And I've tried multiple versions of this because there's an Eau de Parfum, there's a Parfum de Toilette, there's multiple different reincarnations in terms of the formula. They tweaked and tweaked and tweaked it. And I think even the new one is still really long lasting. Not quite as much as this one, but it's a good 8 hours at least. This one really, really lingers. So the next one is a true monster. This one is a really, really long lasting one. It's called Rien. I hate saying that word. It's Rien, and it's by Etat Libre d'Orange. This is crazy strong. This one, I can smell this into the next day. It's one of those, if you wear it out, you can still smell it the next day. This is another aldehyde fragrance actually, but it's also super leathery, and it's also got a lot of incense in it. So it kind of smells a little bit like it's got a gasoline type feeling to it when you first put it on, but when it dries, you really get this huge spiky leather, and I really like wearing this one, but I can only really wear this one for one day at a time. I can't wear this multiple days in a row. It's like I wear it and then I have to leave it for a while, but it is one of my favorite Etat Libre d'Orange fragrances. So, rien, which means nothing in French. The next one is one of my most recent acquisitions, and I got it for my birthday. I've wanted this fragrance for 2 years, I think even longer. And it is Ylang 49, and it's by Labo. This one, oh my gosh, it's just so beautiful. I mean, the notes of this one, they say Ylang Ylang, and they say Tahitian gardenia, as well as patchouli, oak moss. It's a chypre style fragrance. And this one lasts a super long time. I mean, I don't need to say it for every fragrance, but you kind of get the gist. That's what this whole video is about. So this one not only lasts long, it's really powerful. I mean, it projects really far. It doesn't really smell like any of the notes listed. It's a real tough one to describe, but I did review this, so if you want to go and check it out. I've also reviewed Opium, Opus IX. I've reviewed all of these so far. So any of these that you want to check out, I've reviewed pretty much all of them, I think, apart from one. So yeah, every single one apart from one. So yeah, it's flowery, but it's not. It smells a bit like a sun cream without being boring and coconutty. It just reminds me, oh my God, I'm gonna put it on my hand because I love this so much. You can feel something woody underneath, and this one is just a tough one. I mean, go and watch my review. This is gonna be a skim through. Go check it out. Ylang 49 by Labo. The next one is Black Orchid, and it's by Tom Ford. This one is a real crowd divider, but man is it strong and man does it last long. So when I first reviewed this, it was many years ago, I described it as a wall of scent. It's so dense, it's so thick, it kind of whacks you in the face when someone's wearing it. It's centered to me mainly around vetiver, like a real dry grassiness, but then they pile chocolate on top, and they pile kind of a mushroomy, earthy note on top of that. It's got the fantasy orchid thing that Tom Ford puts in his perfumes. And because you can't really distill orchids, they don't yield any essential oil to put into perfume, so it's always a fantasy. But this one is really great, but not a safe blind buy. It's kind of polarizing, I think, to a lot of people, so be careful if you want to try that one, but I love it. I think it's so sexy and kind of mysterious, but it's quite popular. So you probably will have smelled it on someone at some point in your life. Anyway, let's move on to the next one, which is Halfeti by Penhaligons. This one borders on obnoxious for me, but I don't mind that. I don't mind an obnoxious fragrance. I do like to make a statement when I wear fragrances. That's why I have a lot of strong, long-lasting fragrances. This one's a rose, and it's also oudi, and it also has a lot of incense in it, and it also has quite a big powdery presence as well. So it's all of those things at once: powdery, woody, rosy, and incensey all at once. It's my favorite Penhaligon's fragrance as well. And this one always gets comments. Note, I didn't say compliments, I said comments. Not all of them have been positive. Some people, I mean, if you've walked past a Penhaligon's shop, you will have smelled this because they literally pump this out of the door. So it's kind of like the Lush effect. You can smell this before you get to the shop because they put it on hankies and they blow fans, and I think it's probably one of their best selling ones, and that's maybe why they do that. And I fell for it. I really like it. I really like this one. There's another one in this collection that's kind of similar to this, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So the next one, another new fragrance that I got late last year, is Bee by Zoologist. Oh my gosh, do I love this fragrance. This is heavenly. So this is super massive. I mean, huge loud. The owner, Victor, wanted it to smell like you're in a beehive. It's claustrophobic and thick and gloopy, and this is gorgeous. It's got a lot of mimosa in it, beeswax, honey, obviously. It's got, to me, like a caramel toffee type smell. And the big surprise here when you wear it is incense, and this one just keeps going and going and going. This is one of those 12-hour plus dealios. I love bee so much. Oh my gosh, I love you, little bee. Now buzz away. So the next one I think is a little bit more difficult to find, but I'm sure you can if you want to find it. And I think this is a true hidden gem. It's called L'Agent, and it's by Agent Provocateur. This was such a surprise. The first time I ever smelled this was on Halloween, actually, many years ago. A friend of mine wore this on our night out, and I just kept smelling her all night, and I kept saying, what is this? What is this smell? She told me I got some. This lasted through an entire night of clubbing on my friend, on the bus on the way home, and we were all drunk, sitting at the back, eating our disgusting kebabs. I could still get so many big wafts of this from her. So this feels like a super niche perfume, even though it's a designer perfume. It's a big myrrh. It's really resinous, tons of spiky incense, but then it's got a powdery floral element over the top of it. So it's really unique, this fragrance, and if you can find it, get it. I got mine for £14 when I got it, and I think I was really lucky to get it. I actually got 2 of them, but I gave one of them away. So L'Agent by Agent Provocateur. The next 2 are by the same company and the same perfumer, in fact. My favourite perfumer in the whole world, Mr. Dominique Ropion. The first one is Portrait of a Lady. It's no secret that this fragrance is a monster. It used to be even stronger until they reformulated it. Mine is the newer, it's not the newest formulation. I think they did it 3 times. Mine's the middle one. And I mean, this is like a 2-spray thing. I wore this to friends once when we were going out, and I got on the tube on the underground, and I was so aware that I smelled really strongly, and it made me feel uncomfortable because I probably put too much on. You need to kind of level yourself with fragrances, you know. If you know it's not going to be super strong, then you can afford to put a few more on. And a lot of the people that, I should still talk about this one. A lot of people that say that fragrances don't last on them. I mean, what I used to say to people is, well, how many sprays do you use? And they would say, 1. So I would say, just put a bit more on. Really, some people are just scared to apply fragrance. I mean, just do it with abandon. If something doesn't last on you, get more on. That's my biggest tip. And it might seem obvious, but a lot of people I've spoken to just say that they just wear like they spray 1 and they walk into it, and well, no wonder doesn't last on you. You need to get it on your skin, on your pulse points. Just put it on. Anyway. Portrait of a Lady, it's another rose incense. It's not the same as Halfeti by any means, but it's the same thing. This is much drier, this one. Let me just put the light on 1 second, because the sun keeps going in and out of the clouds, and it's not going to bode well for the lighting. Don't think that made much of a difference. Anyway, Portrait of a Lady, it's another rose incense perfume, tons of patchouli. This one's really dry. I describe it as like a rose on an altar in a crumbling, decrepit church. And there's a reason for its popularity. I think it's gotten quite popular that a lot of people that used to wear it are now saying, I don't want to wear it anymore because I smell it everywhere. But I still love this. I'm never going to stop loving this. It's a real special one for me. And when I got it, it was one of my favourite things that I got when I thought, finally I have it, So moving on, still Dominique Ropion and still Frederic Malle. It's Carnal Flower. Whoa, my favourite tuberose perfume ever. Tuberose is the star. That's the theme. It's the whole idea behind this. And it's a real loud springtime, heady, whack you around the head tuberose. It's got a bit of coconut going on. It's got eucalyptus in here. It's super creamy, super smooth. And one of my favourite things to wear in hot weather, even though it's super overwhelming. It's another one of those, don't put too much on. But Such a big fan. Anyway, moving on. The next one is Memoir Woman by Amouage. I wore this to a concert with some friends, and it was another one of those tube situations where I realised that I probably had too much of it on. My friend texted me when we got home from the concert very late and said, I can still smell that perfume. I think it rubbed off on me when we hugged. So Memoir Woman is a Chypre fragrance, so it's ultimately woody. There's a lot of moss in here, but there's also a ton of incense. This one's really dry. It's a dry greenery incense, like incense in a forest kind of smell. And I love this. I don't wear it too often because I only usually wear this when it's winter. I had to pull a lot of these out of my winter collection because right now I'm only really using my summer stuff. So Memoir Woman by Amouage, relentless, just really, really relentless in terms of longevity. The next one is a golden oldie, and it is LouLou by Cacharel. So this is another tuberose perfume actually from the 80s. Another one that's super relentless. I want to give you guys a tip. My one is the older version, which is way stronger and long-lasting than the current formula. The current formula is still long-lasting, so don't worry about that. LouLou is just a beast whichever way you look at her. I mean, that way, that way, that way, she's still a beast. So if a little tip, if you want to find the older formula, if you're searching on any kind of website to buy it, if you want the older one, look at the logo, the Cacharel logo on the box. If it's got an elliptical around it, like an oblong shape, like if the logo is framed, that means you're buying the older version. So it's something, just a little pro tip to share with you. If it just says Cacharel with no frame, you're more often than not, well no, you will be buying the newer version. So LouLou is plum, tuberose, incense. Do you see a theme in my favourite fragrances and my strongest ones? There's tons of flowers in here. It's very shoulder pads. It's kind of like if you were a kid in the 80s, someone's mum or your mum probably even wore this fragrance. I own it because of nostalgic reasons. I like to go back to, it reminds me of a particular place from my childhood, so that's why. So the next one is Insolence by Guerlain. This one, the Eau de Parfum version, the purple one. This one is a violet, a huge violet. I call it violet on acid. It's violets sitting in a thick, syrupy, sweet smell that is very signature of Guerlain. It smells so much like a Guerlain perfume. If you've tried any of their other perfumes, it's just got their DNA in it. And this one is unforgiving. The reason it's on this list is because I wore this in New Zealand in really hot weather, and I was probably 20 or 30 meters in front of my friend. We were walking, just browsing shops, and she told me that she could smell this 30 meters away when I wasn't even near her. So got to go on the list. Same friend that told me about the Memoir in the club, in the concert that time. So coming towards the end, the next one is another zoologist. It is Moth. This is in my top 2 from the brand. Oh, holy moly, this is so good. I would say that this is probably one of the longest lasting fragrances in this collection and from the brand in general. This is one of those through the night ones. I mean, I can always feel this. It just keeps on going, and you really don't need to use a lot of it, so it can be really overwhelming. This one is, I describe it as a smoked honey incense. There's a lot of other stuff in there. There's really gentle floral notes like heliotrope. There's kind of like an iris, waxy smoothness. But the honey is a really big player here, and it's so unique. I absolutely love this perfume to death. This is one of my ride or die perfumes, and I just really enjoy wearing it. But this is another one that I wore on holiday in Turkey. We went to an open air club, and I think it's the first time in history that someone managed to fill an open air club with the smell of their perfume. So Moth is amazing, love. Each of them come with a little story, don't you just love it? So the next one is Signature, and it's by Ruth Mastenbroek. Oh my gosh, let me just get a waft of this one. The story about this one is I wore this to a friend's wedding last August. I put it on at probably midday while I was getting ready to go to the ceremony. We went to sleep at 5 o'clock that night, the next morning, because we were partying and being all wedding-y and stuff. I could still smell this on myself very significantly. I mean, a lot. I could still smell this wafting on me multiple hours after I put it on, and I didn't touch it up at all. I didn't want to carry anything to the wedding, so I didn't take a perfume with me. So, oh gosh, this is so cool. It's by an English brand. It's pineapple. There's some florals in here. There's a lot of oak moss as well. It's extremely unique. And this is one of my mum's, more recently when I went to see her, I was wearing this and she kept saying, what is that? What is that? So hopefully I'll get it for her one day because she loves it. But it's called Signature, Ruth Mastenbroek. The next one, some people might not agree with, but I'm going to tell my story anyway. It is Pulp and it's by Byredo. This one, my partner wears a lot, or should I say steals a lot. Yeah, there's no conversation about can I wear this. It's normally just worn, hence why it's so much of it has gone, much to my annoyance. But yeah, this is a super green fragrance. This has got fig in it. It's got fruits, other kind of green fruits, grassy notes. This is so strong. A lot of people say that Byredo fragrances don't last on them. I mean, I don't know if they changed the formula. My one is kind of old. It's probably like 3 years old, I would say. But when my partner wears this and when I wear it, it's there. It's everywhere. We wore this in India, which is so humid and strong, and I couldn't really find anything to last in India. Pulp stood the test of time. So I love this. It's one of my favorite greens that I have. It's really fruity and strange and leafy and just lovely. So it's Pulp by Byredo. Let's talk about the vampire of my collection. It is Lust and it's by Lush. Mine's the older bottle, so you might not recognize it, but it's called Lust. It's bright red liquid and it's one of the most aggressive jasmines I've ever smelled. It's super dirty. I'd say that it's something that a vampire would wear. That's why I call it the vampire of my collection. It's vampy, it's campy, it's so strong. It's a one spray thing. I wore this in an office once and that was a big mistake because everyone was saying, what on earth has someone sprayed? It was me in the corner just going, sorry, I sprayed Lush Lust and sorry for assaulting your senses. So this to me is one of those ones where I almost do it kind of under my clothes a little bit and only let a little bit touch my skin because it's a beast. So second to last one is one of my favorite perfumes ever. I think it's top 10. It's Andy Tower and it's called Le du Désert Marocain. My most complimented fragrance out of any in my collection. Guaranteed to get compliments every time I wear this. Don't let that be a factor. I love this. Themed on Moroccan desert air, spices. I think there's cumin in here. There's a lot of labdanum resin which really smooths it out. It feels gently incensey. Very unique, very much Andy Tower's stamp and his signature. If you smell his other things, you get the feel for his creations. It's probably his best-selling fragrance, and I know why. Oh my God, this is so good. It's sweet as well, smooth, sweet, gently resinous, and spicy. So try this out if you can, if you haven't already. I think most people that collect niche or seek out niche perfumes will have smelled this. And the last one, I'm gonna probably pin it down and say that this is the strongest and long-lasting fragrance here. This one's actually really overbearing and it's just simply called Oud and it's by a guy called Terrence Hughes. This one is one of those ones that can travel about a mile down the road. I mean, yeah, that's an exaggeration, but talking about insolence and, you know, how my friend could smell it down the road. This is, I can smell this down the road and round the corner, and it's a room filler. It's mainly centered around oud. I think it's maybe Burmese oud in this one, with a couple of other, possibly synthetic oud accords as well. It's just like a big mash of wood and medicinal, dirty oud, which once it develops and dries is just, it sings. I mean, I don't even know where to go, but this one is one of those, I can smell this the next day things. You cannot get away from it. It's through 2 showers and I can still smell this one on me. So if you really are into things that are hyper monstrous, try this one out. And that's it. I'm going to leave it there. I hope you guys like this video. Those are the 20 strongest and most long-lasting fragrances that I own. All tried and tested by me, and all ones that I have to be careful how much I spray of them. And that's a good indicator of, you know, that's a bit strong. What is he wearing? Whew. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I hope you are staying safe and well. I'm Ouch 110, trying to make the world smell better, one video at a time. See you guys soon. Goodbye.